call.
Ooh.
Heart.
You can't call. He can jam, but you can't call.
Heart.
You're dangerous man. I remember that. You know that. What a call. That's a sexy jam, and this should not be a call.
No, that's not a call.
I remember you.
Welcome to this episode of How to Crush No Limit Hold'em Games in United States Casino. I'm June. This episode is very special because this is the first tournament I've ever played in United States. And very luckily I got a champion, and this is the full record of every hand I played in this tournament. And let's go fishing! So I bought in at the 200-300 blind level, and my starting chips is 25k. And so first I want to say sorry to the audience because this is my first tournament ever in United States, and also it's my first time trying to vlog a tournament. So perhaps some information will be missed. And the first interesting hand is +1 player open raise to 800, middle position and button player all calls. I'm on the small blind and I check my hands, it's pocket aces. So it's a very good start, and the next question is how big we want to raise. Based on our observation, we think that players on the table won't fold to a small 3-bet. They just snap call every 3-bet, and so I raise it to 5,300. And +1 player calls other folds. Flop comes Jack 7 for 2 diamonds. It's a very decent flop. I c-bet for 1/3 of the pot size and he calls. Turn comes a 9 of diamonds. So the flounder flush is complete. I got a 8 of diamonds in my hand and the pot is already 20k. I have only 15k left, so the SPR is less than 1. I think if I bet here a lot of combos in his range, he cannot continue. So I decided to check and get my value in the river. And he checks back. River comes a 5 of hearts, so it's a very safe card. And because there's a flush on the board, I didn't push all in and only bet for 1/3 of a pot. I'm hoping he can call in a wider range. And then he tanked for a long time. Finally, he chose to call. I show my hand, it's good, and my chips are now growing to 42k. Then the second hand, I got Queen 10 suited on the button and I raise it to 1,000. Big blind calls. Flop comes 4 deuce, 2 spades. He checked to me. I bet 700, around 1/4 of the pot. I'm hoping to deny any 2 cards equity in his hand, and he chooses to call. Turn comes a queen of diamonds, so I hit a top pair. He checked to me again. I bet for 2,000, around half of the pot. Trying to get some value from ace high or pocket pairs or some flush draw, and also this queen is favoring my range, so I can mix a lot of bluff with this bet. And I don't think he will check call too much queen high, so perhaps I can choose a larger size next time. And he calls. River comes an ace of clubs. He checked to me again, and I bet for 3k on the river, hoping to get some thin value from his pocket pairs, but now I think it's perhaps too thin and it becomes a self value because I got called and opponent shows ace-5 offsuit and I lose this spot. And then the next hand blinds are up to 300, 600, and +1 a very aggressive player raised it to 1,300. I got king queen suited on the low jack and we're 50 big blinds deep. I don't want to 3-bet him and got 4-back jam. King queen suited would be a very awkward position, so I decided to just call. And other player all folds. Flop comes 2, 4, 5, 2 hearts. He checked to me. Betting here obviously don't have too much merit because his ace high won't give up here, so I cannot fold any cards is better than me. So I decided to check back. And turn comes a queen of hearts. So the flounder flush is complete and I hit a top pair at the same time, and he bet a full pot size 400. It's a very polarized betting, and I got a top pair facing this aggressive player. I cannot fold here, so I choose to call. River comes an ace of clubs, and it's not a very comfortable card. Of course, he won't have any 3 in his range, but he certainly got some ace high. And the good news is he chooses to check. And of course, I don't have any reason to bet here, so I choose to check. And he shows 7-8 of clubs. So he just simply give up this river, and I successfully take it down. And then the next hand blinds are up against 500, 1000, 1000, and I got ace jack offsuit on middle position and raise it to 2000. Cutoff player, an aggressive man, comes again, he calls. Bottom player, a short stack player, all in for 7300, around 7 big blinds, all falls to me. Here I think my ace jack offsuit because the cutoff player is pretty deep behind, so I only choose to call. And cutoff player also calls. So there's a 3-way pot and one player is already all in. And flop comes jack 5-7 rainbow. So we hit a top pair top kicker, and facing this aggressive player, I like to check a lot to protect my checking range, and he check back. Turn comes a 9 of diamonds, so I would like to start betting for value. I bet for 8000, and very sadly he didn't have anything, so he chose to snap fold. But I still need to win this all in with the short stack player to take down this pot. And he shows he has 8-9 suited. River comes a 2 of clubs. So I successfully knock him out, and my chips are now 55k. Then the next hand I got king 9 of hearts on middle position, and I raise it to 2500. Button, a short stack player, calls, and big blind aggressive player calls again. Flop comes jack 6-6 2 spades. Big blind check to me, and there's no much rooms for my hands to improve on the turn, and plus it's a 3-way pot, so I choose to check. And bottom player also check. Turn comes a king of diamonds. Big blind check to me again, although I hit a top pair, but I don't think I can get too many value on this board, so I only bet for 2k, a small size. Bottom player calls, and big blind player check raise to 7500. And although this is a small raise, but facing this aggressive man and there's a short stack behind, I think he probably cannot fold his hand given his SPR, and I certainly have better kings to defend this spot. So I decided to do a tight fold. And what happened next is bottom player shoves all in and big blind snap call. River comes an ace of spade, and bottom player shows a better king, his king queen offsuit. And big blind shows 7-6 suited. This time he really got it, and so the short stack player is out. Then the next hand blinds are up against 600, 1200, and hijack player, the aggressive player, open raise to 2500. Cutoff calls, and I check my hands on my small blind. I got pocket aces, so it's a very decent situation, and I 3-bet to 12,500 and hijack folded. Cutoff player rejams for 25,000. Of course I snap call, and he shows ace king of spade, so it's a very dominant situation. However, the flop comes king queen deuce 2 spades. Wow, so originally I have around 90% of equity. Now any king or spade I will lose this pot. I have only around 60% equity. And the good news is this dealer is dealing very fast. Turn and river comes 7 of diamond and 8 of heart. So I didn't hang there for too long, and I took down this pot. And even the player beside me had a big sweat for me.
Scared for the flop?
So scared, yeah.
That was horrible.
Worst flop ever.
Yeah, it was a big sweat there for you.
Then the next hand is under the gun player raise it to 3000. Bottom player and small blind calls. I'm on the big blind and I check my hands. I got pocket aces again. And here I'm gonna do the official announcement. How to win a championship in a tournament is we're getting aces all the time. And because the calling player is very deep behind, so I choose to squeeze to 16k, and undergun player shoves for 25k. All player folded, I choose to snap call and he shows pocket tens. Now we only need to dodge 2 tens. And flop comes ace deuce 7, and turn is the 3, so opponent is drawing that down, and river comes a 4 of clubs. So I successfully knock out a player, and now I have around 120k, so it's around 5x the starting chips. Then the next hand blinds are up to 1000 and 1500. I got pocket 8s on +1 and open raise to 4000. Bottom player and big blind calls. Flop comes 3-3-10 rainbow. Big blind check to me. Here I will bet entire range using a small size, so I bet for 3000. Bottom player calls, big blind fold. Turn comes a jack of spade. Here I don't think a lot of merit to bet here. I choose to check and he bets for 6000, around 1/3 of the pot. Although I will lose to all the 10s and jacks, but in his range he will also have a lot of small pocket pairs I'm ahead, such as pocket 4s to pocket 7s or some draws, so I decided to call, and river comes a deuce of heart. After I check, he checked back, so he's very lucky I'm just ahead and I take down this pot. Next hand I got ace-7 of spade on middle position and raise it to 4000. Cut off a maniac player shoves all in, and I asked dealer to count his chips. He has 30,500. It's around 20 big blinds.
Allin, how much is that? 30,500.
And in general, we cannot call ace-7 suited if we're 20 big blinds deep in middle position. But this maniac player, he has bluff all in, deuce 4 offsuit in previous hand, so I confirm he has a wider range. So after a little bit tank, I decided to call, and he didn't let me down. He shows 9-7 of diamonds, so I'm dominating him, but the flop let me sweat again. It comes 10-8-8 2 diamonds.
Oh my god.
And good news is turn comes a king of heart and river is 3 of spade, so I successfully knock him out, and now I have around 180k. Then the next hand blinds are up again. It's 1000, 2000. In middle position, the aggressive man open raise to 4000. Low jack player calls. I got ace-10 offsuit on cutoff and decided to play a little bit more aggressive. And I squeeze it to 16,000, trying to put some pressure on him. But surprisingly, middle position and low jack all choose to call. And middle position is very deep behind. He has around 100k. Flop comes ace-5, 8, 2 clubs. They check to me, and I decided to check back. Now I didn't quite remember why I checked back. Perhaps he's too aggressive. I want to trap him, and if I can do it again, I probably gonna use some small size, so it won't be too complicated on the turn. And turn comes a 3 of spade, so there's a double flush draw on the board. And middle position check again. Low jack player bets for 18,000. I choose to call. Middle position check raise to 43,000. Low jack player folded. Wow, this check raise is a pretty small check raise compared to the size of the pot. I don't think he would play his set this way. I'm thinking perhaps he would play some pair flush draw this way, so I decided to shove all in.
All in.
And I got a snap. And as I predicted, he do have a pair flush draw, but he has 2 pair plus a flush draw. He has ace-3 of clubs. Wow, so this time he really got it, and I'm thinking how much chips I left for the game, and river comes a 5 of heart. So I turn a 2 pair and my 10 kicker plays. So I actually suck out the aggressive man, and he's very angry, and so I keep saying sorry to him.
Sorry, man.
After this hand, my chips are growing to around 400,000. So I'm a small chip leader on the table now. And then there's a pre-flop all-in. I got ace-7 offsuit versus a king-9, but I'm losing, so my chips are decreased for a little bit. And the next hand is quite interesting. Blinds are up to 2,000, 4,000, and middle position player open raise to 9,000. I got ace queen offsuit on the hijack and I 3-bet him to 30,000 and he shoves all in for around 130,000. So it's about 32 big blinds. And because I'm just a newbie on the tournament, then I don't really sure about 32 big blinds all in if I can call with ace queen offsuit. So I think for a long time, and finally I decided to call. And a lot of players on this table have different ideas.
Call.
Ooh.
Heart.
You can't call. He said he can jam, but you can't call.
Heart.
You're dangerous man. I remember that.
You know that.
What a call.
That's a sexy jam, and this should not be a call.
No, that's not so.
I remember you.
Anyway, the board comes Jack 3, 6, Queen 3. So we chop the pot, and now we're gonna take a clear look whether we can call this spot. We can see on the wizard here ace queen offsuit is actually a 50-50. But of course we're gonna see the all-in range in opponent's range. So assume a middle position will push this wide, we can call ace queen offsuit 50-50. But of course in the real game, I don't think opponents will push ace 5, ace 4, ace 3 suited for 35 big blinds. So I don't think ace queen offsuit is a really good call here. So yeah, opponent is very nice. They're also coaching me while playing with me. Then the next hand, blinds are up to 3,000, 6,000. And under the gun player, the poker coach open raise to 15,000. All folds to me, I got 8-9 offsuit on big blind. I choose to call. Flop comes 9-7-5 2 clubs. I check to him. He bets for 15,000 and I decided to check raise my top pair to 4,000 because on this board I definitely have much more strong hands than him and he chose to call. Turn comes a jack of heart. So now I have a double gutter and the SPR is around 1. I don't think opponent can bet call a lot of jack in his hand on the flop, except he has 10 jack suited. So I decided to push all in, and seems like he's really painful and tank for over 1 minute.
Allin.
And in the end he folded his hand and he says there's 96 players left.
There was 96 players left.
Seems like he's noticed that we're very close to the money and he make a tight fold. So we successfully take down this spot. And that's it for the first half of the episode. Thanks for your watching. If you're wondering how I made it to the final table and the championship, please don't forget to watch your next episode next week. If you like today's content, don't forget to subscribe and like and leave a comment. I'll see you guys next week.
That's your chance to be ruthless.